Really good to see you all. Welcome to Abbey Church. My name's Esther. I'm one of the key leaders here, and a very happy Easter to you all. Thank you. So just over 3 months ago, I was stood here, surrounded by candles. There was a big old tree on the stage behind me, and I could smell mince pies being warmed up. Any idea what was going on? It was Christmas, and it was our carols by candlelight service, and we were having a think about the word surprise. And I said this. You might have noticed that the Christmas story is pretty much one surprise after another. This is a story all about the unexpected, full of twists and turns that no one would have imagined. And then I said, and wait till we get to Easter. The surprises in that story, well, that makes Christmas seem relatively tame. So, here we are today, Easter Sunday. Surprise continued. I'm going to count how many woos I get in the next 10 minutes. Right, so this morning we've looked at what happened in the last week of the Easter story, and we've already come across a lot of surprises. Like, remember the Lego video? So Jesus makes his big entrance into Jerusalem on a donkey. Now, I think this is the equivalent of Jesus choosing to sit in a wonky shopping trolley over a stretch limo. A surprising choice, to say the least. And then 2 of Jesus' best friends stitch him right up. One of them, Judas, sells information to get Jesus arrested. The other one, Peter, pretends he doesn't even know Jesus. Not just once, but 3 times. Like, you wouldn't expect that from your friends, would you? And then Jesus, the Son of God, who has spent the last 3 years of his life doing some pretty amazing miracles, chooses to do nothing when faced with lies, brutal beatings, and a beyond horrible, unimaginable death. It just doesn't make any logical sense. So then we had our brilliant drama. As you could tell, they'd been practicing that for months and months. Oscars incoming, surely. So in the drama, we got to Sunday. And Jesus' friends go to care for his dead body with some nice smelling spices. But hang on. There's no sign of the body. Not in the mysteriously now open tomb. Not anywhere. Jesus' body has gone. Vanished. And it is the most confusing, disturbing, and upsetting surprise yet. Because why would someone steal a dead body? Good news, our Easter Sunday story doesn't end here, and the biggest and best surprises, as you might have guessed, are still to come. And so we're going to read what happens next after Jesus' friends find the empty tomb. We're going to read from the Bible. You can find it in the book called John. We're going to read chapter 20, verses 11 to 18. It's going to be on the wall behind me. Have a read along or listen with me. So this is John chapter 20, verses 11 to 18. Jesus appears to Mary Magdalene. Now Mary stood outside the tomb crying. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb and saw 2 angels in white seated where Jesus' body had been, one at the head, the other at the foot. They asked her, "Woman, why are you crying?" "They have taken my Lord away," she said, "and I don't know where they have put him." At this, she turned round and saw Jesus standing there, but she didn't realize that it was Jesus. He asked her, "Woman, Why are you crying? Who is it that you're looking for?" Thinking he was the gardener, she said, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have put him, and I will get him." Jesus said to her, "Mary." She turned towards him and cried out in Aramaic, "Rabboni," which means teacher. Jesus says, "Do not hold on to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. Go instead to my brothers and tell them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went to the disciples with the news, "I have seen the Lord." And she told them that he had said these things to her. So, surprise number 1, Jesus is alive. Like, what? Like on Friday, just 2 days ago, Jesus was dead. It's Sunday, and now Jesus is alive. Like, this is amazing. And it's so much more than another miracle, a cool thing that Jesus did to impress us. This happened. This is real. Jesus was dead. Jesus is alive. And this means something huge for us. So we're going to pick out 3 more surprises from the verses that we read that might help point us to what this means. What does this mean? Jesus was dead. Jesus is alive. What does it mean for us here today? So, surprise number 2, the gap has gone. In verse 16 that we read, Jesus whispers one word, Mary. Jesus speaks Mary's name out loud, and in that moment, everything changes. Like, can you imagine this? In the most overwhelming pain and confusion, you hear one word, your name, spoken by a voice you never thought you'd hear again, Mary. And Mary cries out, "Teacher," in response and throws herself at Jesus. And I imagine this to be a very messy kind of situation. Like, Mary buries her snotty, tear-stained face into Jesus, like breathing him in, feeling his body, feeling his pulse, and holding him so tightly they can barely stay on their feet. And it's not said in so many words in our verses, but from what I know of Jesus, I don't think he's in any rush to extract himself from this awkward embrace. In fact, I think Jesus holds Mary equally tightly, wipes his own tears in her hair, taking in the joy of this moment, remembering the days that have passed, and then carefully pulling away from Mary, and with a big grin on his face, tells her what's next. Like, the gap has gone. Like, we, all of us, every single one of us here, get to have this intimate, messy, unfiltered kind of relationship with Jesus. I'm not going to lie to you, it makes me a bit uncomfortable, the thought of being so close to Jesus. But this is the deal. Like, we get to be this close. We get to wipe our snotty tears on Jesus' shoulder. We get to hold on so tight to him that we can barely breathe. There is absolutely nothing in the way. Jesus' death and coming back to life has seen to that. And it's a surprise, isn't it, to find ourselves up close and personal with the creator of the world. But the invitation is there for every single one of us. So, surprise number 1, Jesus is alive. Surprise number 2, the gap has gone. Surprise number 3 is Mary herself. Like, out of all the people and all the possible ways and places Jesus could have announced his new "I'm alive" status. Like, this wasn't what anyone would have expected. And I don't know about you, I've had a think about this. I would have gone straight to Pilate's house, or actually maybe to the religious leader's house, and I would have hidden, and I would have jumped out, and I would have shouted, "Surprise!" scared the living daylights out of them, and then run off laughing. Or maybe I would have got a big stage and an even bigger crowd to do a dramatic big reveal. Not Jesus. Jesus chose to get alongside his friend Mary, who was unable to immediately recognize him through her tears. And then he told her to go and find the others. He said, "Mary, go tell them I'm alive." Verse 18 says, Mary Magdalene went to the disciples with the news, "I have seen the Lord." And she told them that he had said these things to her. Like, Mary Magdalene's life had already been transformed by Jesus. In a book called Luke, in chapter 8, verse 2, we're told that Mary had been possessed by 7 demons before Jesus met and healed her. Then Mary followed Jesus, and she gave herself and everything she had to support Jesus in what he was doing here on earth. Like, Jesus wasn't and isn't afraid to surprise us, to offend our assumptions. Like, Jesus intentionally chose Mary. Like, he chose Mary, who had no influence, no power, no voice, simply because she was a woman. And Jesus chose her to go and run with the biggest announcement in history. And Jesus is exactly the same today. He intentionally chooses the broken, the marginalized, and all those written off. He chooses those who don't have all the stuff, who don't have it all sorted. Jesus chooses us all to be a part of his family, his followers. Every single one of us with the potential to go and do great things with him. We all get to run with Jesus, no exceptions. So the last one, surprise number 4, is Jesus' body. Now, I think Jesus could have come back to life with an upgrade to his previous human body, like Jesus version 2.0. But as we see in the verses that follow ours today, come back next week and we'll get into that, he didn't. Like, Jesus could have got rid of that rogue grey hair. I reckon he had at least one. And he most certainly could have got rid of the physical reminders of the trauma of Friday. I think I would have done, because who wants to be reminded of horrendous physical pain, of apparent failure, of the times your mates severely let you down? No thanks, not me. But there's something surprisingly beautiful in Jesus' back-to-life physical body being so obviously scarred. Like, his hands, his feet, his side, scars impossible to ignore. Like, his head, where the crown of thorns was pressed in, like scars right there when you look into his eyes. And his back, a mess, having been brutally whipped apart, literally scars everywhere. And in Jesus' Easter Sunday body, we see that God doesn't ignore, forget, or brush over the pain we experience in life. God doesn't ask us to pretend our scars aren't there. He knows our scars, and he holds them and us really, really close. And let's not forget, there is a hope in the right here, right now of today that screams out from Jesus' resurrected body that says, sin, violence, and death will never have the final say in this world that God has created. Like there is hope in the right here, right now of today, whatever your right here, right now today looks like. When we look at Jesus' resurrected body that says sin, violence, and death will never have the final say in this world that God created. Like this is the hope we hold on to, that we choose to celebrate today. And sometimes that is really hard, but we choose to celebrate this hope today and every other day too. Like Jesus is alive. We are loved, we are forgiven, and we are continuously, every day, being made new. Like Jesus is alive. I'm going to pray. Jesus, you are full of surprises. And yeah, even if we have known you for a while and maybe we think we've got you figured out, you love to surprise us. And yeah, as we are here together on Easter Sunday and we look to you, Jesus, to your resurrected body, to you being alive, will you show us again what this means for us? Thank you that we get to have this weirdly up close and personal relationship with you, Jesus. Yeah, thank you that we can bury our head in your shoulder, that we can feel you close. Thank you that you choose to do things in a totally different way than we would, that you choose people who are surprising and unexpected maybe to do your amazing stuff in this world. And thank you that includes every single one of us here. And Jesus, we look at your body and we see your scars. Yeah, thank you that you don't ignore our pain and our scars. Yeah, thank you that you see them and you hold us close. So yeah, Jesus, this Easter Sunday, I pray that we will all see you, see the hope that we can have in you being alive. Holy Spirit, will you fill us up? Will you send us out into the rest of today, the rest of our weeks, full of you? Yeah, will you keep speaking to us? Will you keep showing up in all the places of our lives? Amen.